Okay.
Okay. So, oh, you should ask me a question.
Okay. So, what do you think about propaganda?
Oh, okay. Propaganda. So, propaganda is interesting. It usually refers to, if you look in literature, it typically refers to political uses of mass media to garner support for something, or to shape the way that people think about a topic or an issue. I think everyone experiences propaganda. They don't realize it. Advertisement, like any sort of Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Pepsi, whatever.
Even like more obvious is political campaigns and how they are like Trump for America or
right,
Bernie Sanders for America.
Yeah, exactly. There's advertisements try to shape people's ideas about their products and what services they're getting or will receive, and political campaigns use the same sort of methodology, so it's all kind of connected. So it's interesting, the propaganda. When I was doing reading on propaganda, the modern person would be very much not shocked about what is propaganda because we have experienced it so much. If you think, so you have to think back about the invention of the radio and television, that you started getting voices or phrases or images that everyone could recognize. And so there was a bunch of literature published on how best to utilize those things. But we experience them every day.
Yeah.
So one of the innovations that they talk about as an example for advertising is having someone hold a product while they're doing something that's not related
it's
to
like
that product. It's product placement.
It's like for Gatorade, like they'll have someone like slam dunk a basketball and then drink it, label out, and then slam it down or something, so it splashes everywhere. It's like Gatorade, you'll be strong and muscular.
Yeah, that's an example. I think when they in movies, someone will be talking and then they'll grab a Coke and drink Coke while they're talking.
It's just product placement,
right. It's product placement. You guys already know about that.
Yeah, so. Because we deal with it every day of our lives, and the average American doesn't know that they deal with it. So,
I think most people
they understand it kind of,
right.
But the average person doesn't really care.
No, they don't, and we've so. The average person has kind of become more sophisticated in how they discriminate towards the messages that they get. Now, when they poll people, they're not as discriminatory as maybe we would like them to be, oftentimes. But I think there is a certain amount that goes on that didn't exist prior to the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, and then propaganda is sort of obviously related to the cult. I think it's related to the cult of personality.
It is, because without propaganda, you wouldn't. Propaganda is mass control of media, which we talked about when we started.
Right.
Which mass media, propaganda is mass media. So I mean, it's not to the extent of or cruelty as say North Korea's propaganda, like. Oh, here's Kim Jong-un's speech. Everyone stop what you're doing. You gotta listen to his speech. It's on every TV. It's like he's controlling the people on media. But, like, the propaganda here isn't so much as bad. It used to be worse. Like, you know, how it's like, oh, Hanford, creating a better America. Hanford, look at these safe people. They're doing safe stuff at Hanford. Hanford helping you. We're not going to talk about radiation and cancer and how we're dumping stuff into the river.
Yeah, I mean, and they certainly...
But they're a lot more open on the cleanup. Like,
yeah.
Oh, look at us. We done goofed.
Yeah, they are more. Hanford is and our government has been, I mean, more open about their failures or areas where they can improve. And I think there's more transparency in government action today than there was in the past.
Like in the 40s, 50s, even 60s.
Right. Yeah. I think. So yeah. They're now in their defense, Hanford and the negative effects of radiation. While they were aware of the problems, I don't think they were as aware as we are today. So we might hold them we'll hold them accountable for their actions, but I would be lenient to some extent because they didn't have the knowledge then that we have now of the effects of radiation.
It's kind of like how it's like we're doing this for America. This is helping America. Don't think about the bad, think about the good. Think about what it's doing for America when basically, I'm not going to say most of the time, but most of the time, to do good, you have to do some sort of harm to something. But that's not all the time. That's not always the case. But it typically is the case. I like how I'm just going back on what I'm saying because there's counter arguments for both.
Mm-hmm. Well, there can be some negative aspects of improving things sometimes, but yeah, we always hope to, if we're open about what they will be, then at least people will be consenting to some of the negative effects. Like for medical trials, for example, sometimes they've done as much prior testing as they can before they do certain medical experimentation, but at some point you need the human trials to see what it will do on people, and sometimes those aren't bad, but they will try to be clear about what the risks are to people, and then try to minimize those risks.
So basically, they try to make good from creating bad, because the only way to solve a problem is to make mistakes, and making mistakes is a normal thing to do, and it's in everyone's everyday life.
Right, yeah. Everyone, you don't have to make mistakes, and you can minimize those mistakes as much as possible, but you would expect that sometimes bad things happen, so you want to do what you can to prevent that.
Sorry.
It's alright.
Stephanie said she was going to send me like a thing with like an email with a bunch of different book titles.
Yeah, she suggested that I talk to you about book recommendations, so
yeah,
we can spend a little bit of time after this is done, and I can help you, because I wanted to first get a better idea of what you wanted to talk about in your paper.
Okay, so that's about all